After hitting the jackpot in Las Vegas, J.R. Shepard is now looking to cash in his chips and take away championship glory in the Bootleg Racing League Grand National Series. After the glitz and glamour of Sin City, we move to America's hometown track, the South Boston Speedway, to close out what has been a dominating season from the Volunteer State Pilot. And you will see it all here live on the Global SimRacing Channel. I'm Chris Phoebe. Joining me tonight will be Devin Henry. At the control center is our director, Sean Ambrose, and he will be using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. This historic oval has given us such legendary NASCAR talents as the Sadler boys and Jeff and Ward Burton. Keeping that in mind, load up the skid steer and grab your notebooks and a big bottle of Big Daddy's barbecue sauce for a virtual track guide of the South Boston Speedway.
Welcome to South Boston, Virginia, and perhaps the most well-known short track to iRacers, South Boston Speedway. Opened in 1957, this 4/10-mile track with limited banking is where many of the oval drivers in iRacing got their start, as the track served as an original launch partner with the service and has long been a hotbed of Legend Series drivers learning the ropes on the sim. South Boston is a challenging short track. Your best success usually comes hugging that yellow line, but buyer beware, pit walls extend into turns 1 and 3, and they are unforgiving. And even more daunting, perhaps, the barriers protecting the pit entrance off turn 4, which are sure to end your race if you spin low on corner exit. Located in the heart of NASCAR country, Sobo, as it's locally known, hosted the Cup Series up until 1971, with the Xfinity Series and the NASCAR trucks racing here into the 2000s. Today, Sobo's a favorite of drivers in the NASCAR modified ranks. It's also seen frequent visits from the former NASCAR East Series. The track also plays host to weekly NASCAR late model action and other touring late model and super late model events as well. On a Saturday night at South Boston, you're likely to see a future NASCAR star. Sobo has served as a proving ground for future NASCAR winners and champions. That's your look at South Boston Speedway. Now it's your turn to try to conquer Sobo. Let's go short track racing.
And that was a quick look at what goes into making the perfect lap here at South Boston Speedway. Now, to give us a little bit more of a breakdown on this historic oval track, we're going to bring in my co-host tonight, Devin Henry. Devin, tell us a little bit about this track.
Well, first and foremost, it is fun, and it has also been the official race for this ARCA series on the iRacing platform all week long. So hopefully these guys got some extra practice in some official races, but this 4/10-mile oval almost feels flat at times. Now, the corners are at 12% banking in both corners, but the straightaways are almost at 10 degrees of banking. This track was built back in 1957, paved in 1962, but what we see today is the configuration made in 1994, and it should be a great place to crown another Grand National Series champion here in the Bootleg Racing League.
And speaking of drivers that are vying for a championship, we have another driver that's kind of a latecomer to the championship here this season, Bobby Rafferty. Bobby, thanks for joining us today. How's the track feeling out there?
Track feels good, just not exactly one of my favorite places. Hopefully I got all my bad luck out of the way in that SK race previous to this one.
Now, you're a little bit of a recent joinee to the Grand National division. What's kind of been your learning curve hopping into these much heavier cars than maybe what you're familiar with this series?
It's definitely been interesting, but it's a car that I do enjoy. To me, it's almost more of a level playing field because it's a lot different than anything that most of the guys run in this series. So yeah, I might have come in a little bit late, but just try to take it easy, try to learn. Made some mistakes last week, and just try to improve on last week's finish. I got one place to go, that's up, so hopefully I'll be talking to you guys in Victory Lane tonight. If not, hey, I'm still having fun.
And having fun is definitely what counts. Now, I got to say, you have probably one of the cleanest looking schemes on your car out there. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got that one designed and where the inspiration came from?
Yeah, it's our team painter from Jim Beaver Esports, Matt Everhart. He runs 07 Designs. He's our in-house painter, and I usually also, besides running Bootleg, I run East-West Modifieds on Thursday nights. My teammate Keith Jeffrey and Kyle Odenik, they run that series, and we all have a very similar paint job. And I just felt like changing the colors up, and I took a little bit of inspiration from Justin Bonsignore's Tour Modified in real life. I've always liked that color scheme, and told Matt, okay, I want to try these colors, go nuts, and he knocked it out of the park as usual.
Very cool. Well, Bobby, hopefully we'll be talking to you a little bit after this race is done. We'll let you get back on the track and work on getting the line dialed in a little bit.
Thank you very much. And hey, I just want to give a quick shout out to Bootleg Racing League, the Cruise Shop, and you guys over at GSRC for broadcasting this for us and giving us a place to race. All of us really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate that, Bobby. Good luck tonight.
Thank you, guys. Have a good broadcast.
All right, and you heard him touch on it, so we're going to dig in deep. Our series sponsor, the Cruise Shop. If you're looking for somewhere to go, the Cruise Shop has been in operation since 1986. They are a team of highly experienced travel agents that have a huge passion for travel. They specialize in cruises, all-inclusive resorts, escorted tours, Disney and family travel, groups, honeymoons, and weddings, and they would love the opportunity to help you plan your next vacation. Give them a call today, 260-755-6125, or visit thecruiseshopfw.com. The Cruise Shop is dedicated to fulfilling their clients' dreams, one destination at a time. And speaking of dreams coming true, Devin, our championship battle is coming down to the final event. We're going to crown a champion for this division here tonight. And J.R. Shepard comes in with a pretty healthy margin. And I believe by your calculations, Devin, you were saying if he finishes 17th or better, he'll lock up the championship if we do end up getting greater than 17 entries.
Yeah, so essentially in this series, I don't believe there are any bonus points for most laps led total. So just looking at playing where they finish and how many points they will receive, J.R. Shepard, who leads the points, even if James Lowe wins this race, as he did last time we were here at Sobo, he would still be the champion as long as he finishes 17th or better. But if we don't have 17 cars enter, right now we only have 16, he will officially clinch the championship by just starting the race.
And right now he does have that 32 marker margin over James Lowe, so things are potentially going to be a wrap for the championship if we don't see anybody happen into this race a little bit later. Now, we do have some interesting notes here as we talk about how this race works. This is the 11th of 11 races. It's going to be 100 green flag, well, 100 laps. No tire changes allowed. These guys are going to have to make the tires last the full distance. Now you see where it says the grid inverts the top 8 of the previous race. That would have been scheduled to be Joe Segala. However, Segala was receiving a penalty after last week's race. So instead of starting on the pole, he's going to drop to the back of the field at the start. And that's going to put Mike Holloway starting up front for this race. So a little bit of a change there in the normal procedure. So our 7th place finisher is going to be starting on the pole tonight. And Joe Segala having to serve a penalty that's extra costly because he has to give up that pole position.
Yeah, that's extremely unfortunate. You get the pole. I mean, sometimes when you're running around 10th in a race, you're going, I just want to get up to P8 because if you are able to finish 8th, you get the pole. I mean, it's just incredible that NASCAR straight up went to BRL, stole this back when they first went back to racing, and they inverted their top 20. In all seriousness, no. No, I love this about the Bootleg Racing League Grand National Series. It is extremely fun to see some of these guys have to get swapped, especially when you look at the last race that we had at the Bull Ring. J.R. Shepard, Bobby Rafferty, and Todd Liston will be coming from 8th, 7th, and 6th tonight.
Yeah, that's definitely something I love about this series is if you win the race the week before, good on you, but you have to really work for it to repeat. And of course, J.R. Shepard is someone very familiar with coming from that 8th starting spot and making his way up. And after being in victory lane last week in Las Vegas, he'll have his work cut out for him today because this is not necessarily the easiest track to pass on.
Yes, a very difficult track and a very easy track to mix yourself up on. Another thing that's going to make this track change is the fact that we're at sunset. As the night continues to roll on, we're going to see the track temperature go down as well, while there's also grip going down onto the track. You can see right now, the track temperature is almost equivalent to the air temperature. That is extremely unusual to the point where these guys are going to have a little bit of extra grip at the end of the race than maybe even at the start of the race, with rubber going down and the temperature going down as well. But it is so easy to scoot the rear end out on these cars, either braking too hard into the corner or getting onto the gas too soon on exit. And that can be extremely costly when you're too wide with someone and you want to try to get on that gas on the outside on a corner exit, and you just send yourself straight into the wall.
Not to mention the no tire change deal. When you're sliding that car around, you are grading the grip off of the tires, basically. And when you have to make these tires last 100 lap distance, you really got to baby them for the opening portion of this race to have anything left at the end.
You have to have it all 100 laps, and that can be something that's difficult to do with the amount of braking that you do at this track and also the amount of steering input that you will have as well. So keeping those rear tires under you is going to be a major factor in who's coming up the field and who's going to be moving back in the field here tonight at South Boston.
Well, Devin, looks like we're wrapping up hot laps here. So J.R. Shepherd was the winner, quote-unquote, of practice with a 15.479, but we're going to head over to our starting grid to get this one underway. And scheduled to start on the pole was Joe Segala. As we mentioned, he'll be dropping to the back of the field. Mike Holloway second. Bruce Pearson will be inside of row 2 with Brian Dean starting next to him. James Lowe and Todd Liston scheduled to compose row number 3 with Bobby Rafferty, who we spoke to earlier, starting alongside J.R. Shepherd. Rounding out your top 10 is going to be Donnie Moore in 9th, and then Austin Belke completes the top 10.
Lowell Jewell in the black and white number 19 will start things off in 11th. Ruben Altice in the black number 11th will be in 12th. Inside row 7, the number 6 throwback car of Kurt Smith. On the outside of him in the red and white 17 will be Chris Wolfson. In our final row tonight will be the black number 9 of Justin Morton in 15th. And rounding out your field, the orange and white number 59 of Mike Allen.
Justin Morton has been a top runner week in and week out in this series. Had to miss last week's event, so he unfortunately having to start from very deep in the field. So he's going to have his work cut out for him. As you see the field starting to roll, the 81 of Joe Segala pulling over so he can let the field by so they can realign. And unfortunately, he'll be moving to the back of the field. Devin, that's going to be a tough race for him.
And it's fun when that happens and you're on the lane who the driver who gets the EOL penalty gets, because now Bruce Pearson, instead of starting third, he will now start inside row number 1 here in the number 96. The entire inside row now moves up a lane, essentially granting you 2 extra positions.
Yeah, that's a great boost for those drivers starting on the inside. And Bruce Pearson has been a driver that's had pretty much the worst luck of anybody in the series all season long. So it'll be nice to see Bruce get a chance to start up front and see if he can keep his nose clean and not have to worry about getting caught up in any other messes here, at least in the early running. Pace car pulls off, green flag is out. Pearson fires off as the field checks up behind him. So it looks like as the flash bulbs go off in the stands, we're going to be riding through turns 1 and 2. They stay pretty much in lockstep as they head down the back straightaway, but now Mike Holloway going to have the advantage in the outside as they head around turn number 4 to the completion of lap number 1. So Mike Holloway officially takes over the lead. Now the battle is for second. 99 of James Lowe, 96 of Pearson. And looks like that outside line so far has been the stronger line.
Yeah, the outside is looking extremely strong right now. As you saw, Mike Holloway jump all the way up into the lead, and now James Lowe making his way on the outside as well and leading the way with that clean air. Mike Holloway sets the fastest lap of the race so far. Battle for third now as Bobby Rafferty looks to the inside of Bruce Pearson.
Yeah, Pearson gets to start on the pole, but unfortunately has had his hands full since the green flag drop, as now Bobby Rafferty works around Pearson to take away the position. And so far, Devin, it looks like the 98 of J.R. Shepherd not having much luck in the way of making forward progress as he looks to cinch up his championship here by virtue of just starting this one.
Yeah, he's only moved up 1 spot so far, and something about South Boston is conserving those tires. So how hard do you want to push it at the start of this race? Now, I'm not saying that J.R. Shepherd is necessarily taking it easy right now, but another big aspect about this track is having to wait for someone in front of you to make a mistake, because otherwise if you take a lot early on, you're not going to be given a lot later on in the race. So you also got to be careful with that, how aggressive you might be early on in this race.
That's a really solid point, Devin. And you got to think too, this is a series of drivers that are pretty experienced on the iRacing service. They have kind of a graduated system in the BRL to get up to this point of racing in their premier series. So they don't let just anybody in. So a lot of the drivers here are very experienced and very good. So you don't always have the benefit of cautions to help you out to conserve those tires either.
Absolutely, and while this is going to jinx it, and now we're going to have a caution, I do need to point out, because of how great these drivers are, the last time we ran here at Sobo, 100 straight laps without a caution. So no cautions at this very short track the last time the series ran here last season, which is extremely impressive. And now J.R. Shepherd moving past Bruce Pearson, one spot closer to the top 5 as he tries to hunt down Donnie Moore.
That's right. James Lowe up there running in the second spot, challenging to the inside of Mike Holloway now for the lead as they head down the straightaway. James Lowe, the only driver in this series that has won an event here at South Boston in this car. He won the race they ran here last season, and he's definitely looking to repeat here tonight as he continues to work to the inside of the two of Mike Holloway. But as we mentioned, that outside line is very strong and has allowed the two of Mike Holloway to continue to hold his own on the outside.
Able to battle door to door. Even Bobby Rafferty directly on the bumper of these two drivers is kind of running a third line kind of in between them. So 3 different drivers utilizing 3 kind of different spots on the track. It's not that wide of a track, but look at the power that Holloway gets on corner X. It slid up a little bit too high that time. But yeah, it's really incredible how much of a fight he's able to put up on that outside lane.
Yeah, the thing about these short tracks, and especially in these big, heavy ARCA Menard series cars that they run, it's not always the easiest place to race like this because the tracks are so small and there's so much horsepower being put down to the tires with this engine configuration. It's really not easy to race side by side here, especially on these shorter courses that are typically one dominant groove. So very impressive to see that racing as unfortunately Mike Holloway slips up the track and now gives up second to Bobby Rafferty. But nonetheless, the racing here early on has been spectacular here at South Boston.
And Bobby Rafferty in that white 77, I know he said he had bad luck earlier today in the SK Modified Series, but last night finished second in the Dirt Street Stock race. Last week in this series finished second at the Bull Ring. So while he doesn't have the immediate luck that I think that a lot of drivers like to have, he does have a couple of really good finishes and now trying to reel in James Lowe here early on at Sobo.
Yeah, I will say last week was the most desperate I think J.R. Shepherd has looked all season long, trying to wrest the lead away from somebody. Bobby had just a little bit of a slip up in turn 3 at the Bull Ring, and that allowed J.R. to get by and take the win. But up to that point, Rafferty had ran a really smart race and had really shown some really good talent behind the wheel. And James Lowe, another one of the top runners in the series right now, is out in front, but Rafferty is keeping him honest.
And an incredible statistic about this series, this is only season number 2, so this is race number 22. We talk about how great J.R. Shepherd is. He's won 15 of the 21 races in this series so far, but besides that, James Lowe has 5, and Justin Warren won a race earlier this year. They are the only 3 drivers to win a race in this series. So if you're able to win a race, if Bobby Rafferty can find a way around Lowe and pull off a win, that would make him only the 4th different driver to win this series that is just full of talented drivers. As we look at a huge battle here for 7th place.
Yeah, I think at this point it'd be easier to say who's not fighting for 7th place, because you have just about half the field, it seems like, all battling for that position. Lowell Jewell, the boss man of the series, is holding his own right now in the 7th position, but he has a slew of drivers that are behind him and very hungry for the position.
And Kurt Smith is making that outside lane work right now, working his way around Brian Dean. A great move, and now Justin Morin looks to follow him as well. This outside is working way better than I was anticipating it working. We'll see how that continues as the track rubbers up. I would like to say that the inside gets more rubber, it will get faster, but man, there's so many guys driving the outside right now, and it's working.
Yeah, that was definitely not what I was expecting us to see here tonight. Just so many drivers that are running up there that very well that can end up being the main group that gets rubbered in tonight.
Yeah, which is extremely unusual, but yet here we are as we watch Kurt Smith in the number 6 car now up to the 8th position on the track. And we talked about Justin Moore having to start in 15th, already up to P9 here and into the top 10, so almost halfway through the field here as we are 25 laps down.
So it looks like Todd Liston in the 87 car giving chase to the 26 of Donnie Moore. Liston, a bit of a newer paint scheme here in the last couple weeks, and I gotta say that is one nice looking race car he's got got here tonight. But Donnie Moore doing a pretty solid job there to maintain his position.
And right behind him, the boss man, Lil Jewel, trying to put on a hunt as we look out the rear end of Todd Liston, and Jewel peeking on the inside, and you see him go below the yellow line, puts his nose up and into a space. Now he has the preferred line, and even these passes on the inside, Chris, they're not on the inside the track. They're almost on the middle of the rubber when they're passing cars on the inside. It's really extremely strange how well the not inside is being utilized correctly and also being the almost preferred lane.
Yeah, it's kind of blowing my mind when they do make those passes. They're usually not on the bottom of the track riding that line, but they're usually about a half groove or so up the track with those right side tires, maybe dipping into that area where they're rubbering in that second groove.
Yeah, I'm slightly confused, but some of these guys who are rolling on that outside certainly are not, as Todd Liston now under attack from Kurt Smith looking for P7, and Justin Moore trying to follow someone to move on up.
Oh, and the 6 of Kurt Smith going for a ride. He ends up in the wall. Now he's parked up there in the turn facing the wrong way. So a tough break for Kurt Smith, who was trying to work his way up through the field. He takes the tow over to pit road.
Yeah, this one's rough. As you see, just a little bit bow for real estate. It looks like Smith might have tried to go up a little bit, try to get some room for the corner. Obviously, Liston wasn't tucked up against the wall, but just even minor contact there, and the 6 car gets sent directly right and into the wall.
So tough break for the 6 of Kurt Smith.
Yeah, it looks like that might have been more net code than anything else, because there might have been a little bit of contact there, but I think net code is what really made that car jerk way to the right side there, and just really unfortunate there trying to battle it out.
We are currently working lap number 34. James Lowe is your leader. He'll have the 77 of Bobby Rafferty to contend with on this restart. And now the 98 of J.R. Shepard is lurking there in the 3rd spot. So you have 3 very talented drivers right up there at the front. Also, the 2 of Mike Holloway's done a tremendous job to hang on. He runs in 4th. And Donnie Moore hanging out in the 5th position. So a very diverse top 5 that we have here today. And James Lowe, the winner of the last event we had here at South Boston, and looks like he may be on his way to repeating here today.
Led all 100 laps last season here at Sobo under a no caution race, but don't be looking too hard in that rear view mirror, because J.R. Shepard has just been on a trek right now up to 3rd. 7 wins in this series. Well, I guess I should say so far, as we still have this checkered flag to go, but when you look across, BRL has 6 different series. He has raced in 5 of them and won. 20 combined wins over 5 series this year. Or this season, I should say.
And speaking of this season, for those of you following along at home, if you'd like to use the same timing and scoring that we're making use of, we urge you to check out GSRC.TV. Works great on your phones just as well as your computer screen. So it's GSRC.TV. It's pretty much the same timing and scoring screen that we use here at GSRC to keep an eye on the race. Gives you probably more information than you could ever want, but sometimes that's just the right amount. So as we work lap number 37 here, field is doubled up. It's going to be James Lowe in the 99, Bobby Rafferty in the 77, your front row. As we get ready for the completion of our first caution flag period here in the Season 2 finale for the Bootleg Racing League Grand National Division here at South Boston Speedway.
Rafferty did a great job there filling in that hole, not letting J.R. Shepard get under him. The outside still working pretty good. The inside obviously had a better start there on that restart. But Rafferty able to keep J.R. Shepherd behind him. That's all that you can ask on a restart like that.
Yeah, Shepherd doing a pretty solid job right now with Bobby Rafferty closing in on his back bumper. So these guys are battling very close together, and J.R. Shepherd looking maybe to move to the outside around Rafferty, because Rafferty gets way loose off the corner.
Big wiggle on corner exit there. Still doesn't lose much time, but here comes Shepherd outside, peeks the nose, and not going to be able to stay there, though.
But he's not giving up on that outside as they come off the corner. Looks like Rafferty able to shut the door, but Shepherd is still trying to hang with him.
Big wiggle by Shepherd there off of 4. Might have got on the gas a little quick there and almost got that right rear quarter panel into the wall. Goes big fast into turn number 3, but not quite able to catch up to Bobby Rafferty. And James Lowe has to be loving what he's seeing right now in that rear view mirror.
Yeah, it's always a great bit of news when you're the leader, when you can see second and third place battling on the track, because it really does allow you some breathing room, which especially in this series you don't get a lot of.
Shepherd still trying to work the rear end of Bobby Rafferty. Gets a good run here, but just not able to get the momentum off the corner. We've seen the outside be so fast, but what usually comes with running the outside is the speed that you get on corner exit. We just haven't really seen that as good as this corner is done in the center of the corner.
Yeah, and we see James Lowe in that 99 car beginning to pull a gap as Shepherd is now on the outside of Rafferty. So these two drivers are very, very close together now. Oh, Rafferty gets a little bit loose on the bottom. That's probably going to be what Shepherd needs to get by.
That's all you need, a little bit of a mistake. And now here, these three battling it out for fourth. Mike Holloway, Donnie Moore, and Justin Morton. Again, just one small mistake is all it takes. And you can see these three drivers running essentially 3 different lines. They're about 3 cars wide there, and they're all running relatively the same pace there.
Yeah, and keep in mind that 9 car, Justin Morton, started second to last in this race. He's really had to work his way up through the field, and with as long of a green flag run as we had in that opening portion of the race, he had no help from the caution really to help move his way up until just recently. So Justin Morton in the 9 car is doing work tonight.
Yeah, fighting for a top 5 spot, but now Donnie Moore to the inside of Mike Holloway has a little bit of room here. Was side by side with Morton, now side by side with Holloway, and we'll see which line prevails.
Donnie Moore with tremendous drive off the corner, but that run that you get on the outside is really hard to contend with. But it looks like he may have him clear as they get off the corner this time, and not quite clear, but he's as close as you're going to get right now. Donnie Moore pulling ahead of Mike Holloway and looking to bring the 9 and Justin Morton with him as well.
The Morton now up 10 spots through this field from 15th to now 5th. Now has his eyes set on that number 26 car. As you can see, the top 3 is just starting to absolutely run away, but J.R. Shepherd has found the rear end of James Lowe.
And that's, can't say that's too surprising. JR is a very hard charger and normally does not push the issue unless he thinks he's capable of making the pass. So that means J.R. Shepherd could possibly be smelling blood in the water.
And does so well at conserving those tires. And one of the benefits of running a little bit higher on the track is not having to use up those tires as Shepherd pulls up right to the rear bumper of James Lowe. Boy, we're going to have us a dogfight here in just a couple minutes.
Yeah, these two drivers have run just countless laps against each other in this series and really across the board with the Bootleg Racing League. The 2 top winners in this series, and Shepherd now gets a nose to the outside, but Lowe with a little bit of a better drive off the corner there, able to keep the gap up. And you can see 2 distinct lines now. Shepherd pulls to the bottom of the track, but they were running pretty different approaches. And wow, JR just drove it into the corner there.
A lot of speed on corner entry, not a lot of braking it looks like, but able to be a little bit higher on entry allows him to be a little bit lower on exit. And I don't know, that might even help out on the tires a little bit and also helps out with speed. And we got a yellow now.
So that'll be a bit of a twist for these guys. Looks like the 81 and Joe Segala facing the wrong way at the front straightaway.
And never what you want to see is cars coming at you. On the inside there, a little bit of bumping on corner exit, and that sends both of them into the wall.
So we're going to take another look at the incident here.
Yeah, Segala didn't come all the way up to the fence there, and I think on the inside, I think that was Mike Allen was kind of expecting that, and they get together and into the inside wall quicker than they could have got to the outside wall there.
Yeah, it looks like they just banged doors coming off the corner, and, you know, sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah, especially here at Sobo, we mentioned earlier about how getting onto the gas too soon will spin you right around. Well, at that same part of the track is kind of where we mentioned that, so getting a little bit of a bump from someone in that same portion of the corner, yeah, definitely not helpful either, as Kurt Smith will be able to gain another lap, still a couple laps down from his incident earlier.
So a tough race, getting a little bit worse for Joe Segala. As we mentioned, he was scheduled to start on the pole. Unfortunately, had to serve a penalty for over-aggressive racing the previous event, and had to give up the pole to start at the back of the field. And sometimes when you hang out at the back, you get caught up in those types of messes. So we work lap number 59 right now. And so James Lowe is your leader, J.R. Shepard second, and now Justin Morton has worked his way up to fourth. So 3 of our top 4 drivers, the only drivers to ever visit victory lane in this series, Devin.
Yeah, exactly. And we've talked about how close Bobby Rafferty has been, even though he has limited experience in this exact series. It'll be interesting to see. Lowe and Shepard really got away from Rafferty. We'll see if Morton can keep up with them or what kind of dogfight we're going to have here. Looks like we're going to go green with about 40 or 39 laps to go. So from here on out, we're going to start learning who took better care of their tires early on in the race.
Exactly. Looks like the lights are out on the pace car. Field's doubling up. So we should be going green this time around. It's once again Lowe, Shepard, Rafferty, and Morton, your top 4. Donnie Moore in 5th. Then Lowell Jewell completes your first 3 rows. And you got to wonder what the 9 car might have left. He's kind of the question mark. We haven't seen him really battling with these top guys, but he had to work his way up there. Pace car peels off. Green flag is back out. Now is the 99 to Lowe. Maybe slides up the track a little bit, but looks like him and Shepard were about dead even there for a second. But Shepard, I think starting in that outside groove may have been the preferred line a little bit because Shepard looks to have the advantage.
Yeah, the outside for rows 1 and 2 look to be where you wanted to be, as Shepard looking for the lead here off of turn number 2, and he will clear James Lowe. And meanwhile, behind them, Justin Morton has moved into the 3rd position, gained by Bobby Rafferty. So the outside lane there was just phenomenal on that restart.
And with the laps beginning to close down, it looks like Shepard is going to try to put the exclamation mark on his championship campaign and make his way up to victory lane again. His first trip to victory lane at South Boston here in this car. But there's still a lot of drivers right behind him, Devin, that would love to have something to say about that.
The 98, the 99, and the 9, your top 3. Lots of 9s in there. I'm really interested to see if Justin Morton can keep up with these 2. Obviously, he has the speed moving up through the field, but I'm just really wondering how much tire is that 9 car going to have left once we get down to crunch time and say 10, 15 laps. Will he be able to keep up this pace? Right now, he's the only one that can keep up with the 98 and the 99.
And it looks like he isn't particularly pushing the issue right now. I mean, obviously he's running pretty quick laps, or else he wouldn't be where he's at. But he doesn't seem to be pushing it too hard at this point in time, Devin. So you wonder if maybe he's hoping for another caution that might give him a shot at those 2 up front.
Heck, I don't even know if you want a caution, because that means for 3rd place you got to start on the inside. The outside was so good that restart. Maybe you'll even fall back to 4th or something. But no, that is a great point. And then the more caution laps you have, that's less stress on your tires. It kind of helps you even out with everyone else on the track. But yeah, not really pushing the issue right now, but just the fact that he's keeping up with these 2, running away from the rest of the field, it makes me curious if these guys might have a little bit less tread on these tires once this is all said and done.
That may be a fair point as well, as we look a little bit further back in the field. Looks like Donnie Moore now trying to get around the 77 of Bobby Rafferty for the 4th position. Rafferty was up there, looked pretty steady there for the opening portion of this race, but as we get closer to the end point, looks like he may be struggling a little bit, possibly with those tires.
Yeah, and we saw Rafferty a little bit sideways a couple of times. Those do kind of eat up your rear tires. A little bit sideways there on entry even, but right now it doesn't look like that outside is working well for him, and he has a train of cars with Jewel and Belkey trying to catch up to him as well. So you kind of want to get back to that inside as soon as you can.
And that was a very close moment there between Rafferty and Donnie Moore. Oh, and now they touch doors. Rafferty gets shot up the track. He's going to give up at least 2 positions. And looks like the 24 of Austin Belkey looking to get by as well. Looks like he'll complete the pass.
So Belkey moves into 6th place. He won the street stock race a little bit earlier on today. Now looking to get himself a top 5.
Yeah, Belkey runs very well in all the BRL series. Hasn't had the best of luck here in the Grand National division, but seems to be doing a pretty solid job here tonight in that Jeff Gordon tribute scheme.
Yes, in his 20s, a co-op engineer from Michigan, trying to work his way up. He's so close to getting that top 5.
Definitely nothing wrong with the Michigan driver. And looks like a battle there between the 26 of Moore, shaping up to be with the 19 of Lowell Jewell. And from what I'm seeing, it looks like Bobby Rafferty is disconnected from the session.
And that is unfortunate. Had some sort of issue with either his machine in the virtual world or in the real world. Was having a really good run, but I guess his unlucky Saturday will unfortunately continue here to close out season 2, excuse me, of BRL.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough break for Rafferty. Not the best of nights for him here, as he had some issues in one of the earlier races as well. But now it's J.R. Shepard opening it up to over a second lead so far, Devin. And as we reach close to 30 laps to go, that's definitely where, or excuse me, 20 laps to go, that's definitely where he wants to be.
Yeah, Shepard is running away. Justin Morton is able to keep pace right now with James Lowe, but you got to wonder how much more these guys are going to need and able to even have a chance to catch up to him. I don't think that they're going to have the tire necessarily to keep up with Shepard, so they might need a caution a little bit later on, but still a fun battle a little bit further back in the pack for 4th and 5th. But you can still see the top 3 are just so checked out right now, but especially J.R. Shepard is checked out, so he's going to start catching up to lap traffic with 20 to go.
Well, lap traffic could definitely be a difference maker depending on where you catch them on this track, and especially what line they're running or you're running to try to get around them. So that's definitely a situation we'll monitor.
Well, right now, Shepard running almost half a second a lap faster than the back part of the field. So, yeah, he's going to catch up to these drivers quickly, and he's probably going to go through about all 5 of these cars that you see here on the front straightaway if there is no caution. So, definitely going to be a lot of guys that he's going to need to try to get by, and as you see, Brian Dean move up the track. You gotta hope if you're 2nd and 3rd that you're going to get that same courtesy that the leader is going to be getting here from some of these drivers.
Exactly, and the lapped cars do typically play nice in this series. So you can see Brian Dean, Kurt Smith both moved out of the way to allow the leader through, which makes things a whole lot easier when you don't have to worry about fighting any of these lap down cars.
Yeah, they all understand. Joe Segala coming up is already a lap down, but then the problem becomes once you get past Joe Segala, there's a battle for position 2 wide with Todd Liston. I believe that's Ruben Altice with him. So once you come up to guys who are fighting for position, yeah, they're not going to really give you that much of an inch because they have their own battle going on right now.
Exactly. These guys all want to be respectful to the leader and what they're trying to accomplish. However, you are running your own race and every position counts. As looks like Altice will move ahead of Liston. That's going to open the door for JR. But JR now finds himself a little bit boxed in there, so he's going to probably lose a little bit of time coming off the corner there just because he had to wait for Altice to get out of the way.
Altice does get out of the way. Now Liston's trying to get the inside of him, and he gets into the wall right in front of your 2nd place runner. James Lowe comes up right on the rear bumper of Kurt Smith, and this lap traffic might be a little bit even worse for 2nd and 3rd than it is for your leader, J.R. Shepard.
It looks like Liston may have caught the wall again, trying to get out of James Lowe's way. That's a surprisingly difficult sentence to say. So,
and as someone who's constantly going lap downs and stuff, it is occasionally difficult when you run out of tire and you're trying to get out of the leader's way. It's just a little tough sometimes because you're not exactly sure what your car's going to do in that scenario.
Yeah, I've definitely been there as somebody with mediocre driving ability. When you try to get out of the leader's way, but you also still have to race the track, and when you're running on a part of the track that maybe is marbled up quite a bit, and you're trying to move out of the way, you hit the brake, and all of a sudden you're on ice skates.
We still got this battle going on here. Donnie Moore in the 26 with Lowell Jewell and Austin Belke behind him. These three cars have just been a pack rolling on together as they start to navigate through lap traffic as well.
Yeah, and Belke is pretty much right on the bumper of the 19 of Jewell, and he's going to be right there as they head down the back straightaway. But unfortunately, they all have to get off of it a little early to try to get around the 81 of Segala. And you got to think, Joe Segala in the 81 just suffered a penalty this week, so he's definitely trying to take it easy and not get mixed up in anything that could see any further disciplinary action taken. So he's probably tiptoeing around these guys as much as anything, and sometimes that can even be a bigger detriment than you would expect.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be difficult because as a lap car, you get put in situations that you just don't want to be in. For instance, when a lead lap car is on the inside of you going into a corner, obviously they don't necessarily have the preferred line. You want to arc that as far as you can, and it just so happened that they caught up to you in a not opportune position where now the guys behind them are going to have a good arc and you're not. So, I mean, it's tough being a lap car regardless of how fast you are sometimes, especially in a series like this. And now already it is 7 to go, and back when we saw lap traffic start to become a factor, the deficit was 1.2 seconds for James Lowe, and Shepard has increased that by a second in the past 5 laps.
Yeah, JR Shepard is just masterful with the way he works the lap traffic, and he's definitely had his issues with them in the past, but it looks like tonight, as he gets a little bit squirrely off the corner there, looks like with 4 laps to go, Shepard is doing a tremendous job out front and has really managed the gap and really managed the lap traffic to get himself into a almost 2.5-second advantage.
Yeah, and as we look back to second place here, James Lowe does have a slight advantage in that orange car to that 9 car of Justin Moore, and as that gap has kind of separated a little bit, but still, you're looking at the top 3 being the only 3 drivers who have ever won in the 2 seasons of this series history. This is a tough series and a very good group of drivers.
Well, in the words of the great philosopher Randy Savage, the cream rises to the top. And that has been the case in this series.
Absolutely, and yeah, especially in this series, it has been, but none other than JR Shepard has been the best at it. 2 to go here now, 7 Grand National wins this season, 8 in the inaugural season, and looking to cap it off with back-to-back championships.
That is right, as we watch Shepard roll around one final time here at South Boston Speedway for Season 2 of the BRL Grand National Series. You'll see him come around right now. He's coming through turns 3 and 4. The checkered flag is going to be waving. Your winner and champion is going to be the 98 of JR Shepard as he brings us home here to the conclusion of season number 2 for the Bootleg Racing League. The Tennessee State driver, his second championship, and you did all the hard math on this one, Devin. This is what championship number in the BRL for JR?
So BRL has been around for a number of years. They have a lot of different series. For instance, this season they had 6 different series. So if you calculate all the different series over all the different years and all the different 4 seasons per year, this is championship number 43 in the Bootleg Racing League across all series that BRL has ever had. Think about that, number 43.
Well, while we all sit in silent astonishment of that number of championships that JR Shepard has been able to achieve, we're going to take a brief break in the action. Stay tuned. We're going to have interviews with our top 3 finishers, our series champion, and also going to give you the full rundown of our results. So stay tuned here for the Bootleg Racing League here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Welcome back to the virtual South Boston Speedway as we work the final event of season number 2 for the 2020 year here for the Bootleg Racing League Grand National Division. We're going to run through our finishing order here tonight to get you guys up to speed on the results here at South Boston. Your winner tonight, 16th time in the series history, second time in a row, J.R. Shepard takes the win, clinches the championship. Second place tonight is the 99 of James Lowe, with Justin Morton completing the top 3. Donnie Moore comes home in the 4th position, with Lowell Jewell completing the top 5. Austin Belkey, a pretty solid night in the 6th position, with Mike Holloway, in 7th. Bruce Pearson, started on the pole, comes home in 8th, with Mike Allen and Chris Wolfson completing your top 10.
In 11th was Ruben Altice. Todd Liston comes home in 12th, Brian Dean 13th, Joe Segala 14th, Kurt Smith in 15th, and Bobby Rafferty rounds out your 16-car field here at South Boston Speedway.
Well, with his third place finish here tonight, Justin Morton caps off a pretty solid season. He picked up a win earlier this year at the Martinsville Speedway, finds himself on the podium here today. Justin, congratulations on a solid run, and you sure had to work for that one starting deep in the field.
Yeah, I had to. Yeah, like you said, I really had to work for that, starting 15th. Thankfully, this track works pretty good, 2 lanes with the outside. That's where I made a lot of my moves.
I was going to say, with this track really working out to be a pretty solid 2-groove track, that probably made it a little bit easier on you. But once you got up to the front, were you concerned at all about how much tire life you had left, or do you think maybe if you had a little bit more time, you could have taken it to James there for the second spot?
I think I could have had James when I first got to him. I was really trying to pass him there, but after a few attempts, I knew I didn't have enough for him, so I just tried to ride behind him, make sure I got in third.
Now, when you have to make a charge from the back of the field like that to get up to the front, what kind of goes into your mind as a driver to keep in the back of your mind that you do have to keep tires underneath this thing for 100 laps, but you also have to get there to have a shot at the end?
Yeah, you really have to balance it. You need to make sure you have the tires, like you said. But when I go into it, first thing I try to do is make sure I'm getting up there safe, because if I wreck, I just can't get there at all.
Definitely makes sense. And Justin, anybody you want to thank that helped make this season possible for you?
And thank my team, Total Downforce Racing, Blackbox, OpenWheeler.com, Pixel Dust for their awesome paints. The car looks great. Lowell for running the league, Cruise Shop for sponsoring the series, and thank you guys for broadcasting. It's always fun to go back and watch.
Well, we appreciate that, Justin. And best of luck in the upcoming season. And we're going to be bringing in now our second place finisher, and I believe he's catching up with Devin Henry.
James Lowe brings it home in second place. A very difficult track here. 2 lines started to come together. You come from 5th to 2nd. You had a little battle with JR. How did Sobo treat you tonight, James?
Overall, not too bad considering I don't really care for this track too much. But as soon as we started off there, I knew I was going to be in trouble. The car wasn't driving anything like it was in practice, so I'm not sure what the deal was with that. But I knew I was going to be in for a long night there. But we just tried to settle in there and get what we could get.
Yeah, long night, like we mentioned, a pretty difficult track, but you still come home second place in the points this season. And next season, man, it's just 1 week away. It's next week already, man. So what is your mindset heading into season number 3 of 2020 for BRL?
Just same thing. I'm not really too worried about the points and all that. So I just come out here to have a good time and finish as good as I can. And if you can get up there and happen to get a win sometimes, that's even better.
Absolutely. And of course, you've done still pretty well in this series. 5 wins in this series history. But of course, coming home in second tonight in the final race of this season. Who do you got to thank for this performance here tonight and this whole season?
Yeah, I just like to thank my team, Balls Out Racing, and the cruise shop for sponsoring all this stuff year after year here. And Lowell Jewell for putting this on. And the racers were really clean this year. It was pretty awesome. And congratulations to JR and Justin for their podium finishes, and just JR for his championship, of course.
Well, it's been fun having you along for the ride. James Lowe coming home in second. We'll see you soon for next season.
Appreciate it.
And now we will give it on back. Chris is caught up with the back-to-back champion, J.R. Shepard.
Well, Devin, the confetti has flown. The champagne has been popped. J.R. Shepard back in victory lane and with a championship to go with it. J.R., how does it feel to be champion for the 43rd time in the BRL?
Yeah, I didn't know what the number was. It's really cool to have a place like this to come out and race on Saturdays, but yeah, it's one of those things where I've probably overstayed my welcome a little bit. So may cut back for the next few seasons and try to do some other stuff. But yeah, I really appreciate everything the Bootleg Racing League's done. It's been a great place to race.
Now, this race really turned into a nice little two groove track here tonight. You had to put some work in to get around James there on that restart. Starting on the outside, do you think that's what allowed you the ability, or do you think you always had it in you to get around him tonight?
I think the best way to try to pass him was going to be on the outside, and I knew that restart was probably my best shot at it. It's really hard to get a good start. The leader's got control of the race, and he gets to determine when we go. And I was just able to get a decent start at it. It's really hard in these cars because when you start in second gear, you light up the tires like a dragster doing a burnout. So it's really tough, and thankfully it didn't get away from us and was able to stay to his outside in turn one.
Now, it's been a couple seasons with this Arca Menard Series car being the premier division of the BRL. And obviously you've adjusted to it pretty well. And after having some experience in it, what do you think about this car in particular?
This car is always fun to drive, whether it's on a short track or intermediate or a super speedway. So it's something that I enjoy running. It's got the new tire model, and it's pretty sensitive at times depending on how the track surface and the grooves work. So it's a lot of fun. You have to save your tires. You have to watch the input that you're putting into the steering and into the throttle and the brakes. So it's a workout at times, but that's what makes it fun.
All right, JR, anyone you want to thank that helped make this season possible for you?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have any partners or anything on the car right now, but extremely thankful to the Bootleg Racing League for putting this on, and to the cruise shop for being a great partner with this series. They've been around for a while now, and without them, we don't get to do this or have the broadcast with you guys, which we really appreciate, guys.
Well, thank you, and congratulations again, JR, on a championship. And race fans, that's going to do it for us here tonight at South Boston Speedway. We have some people we'd like to thank here as we wrap up the show. We want to thank the Cruise Shop for sponsoring the series. You can reach them at 260-755-6125 or thecruiseshopfw.com. As always, we'd like to thank the Bootleg Racing League for allowing us to host their events each and every week. And a special thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts that are listed on your screen. An additional thanks to June Lalone for providing us with her wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. I'd like to thank the crew tonight, Devin, Sean, and Dougie, for making this race possible. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel, on Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. If you'd like to support the channel, go check out our merchandise store at gsrc.storenvy.com. The link is in the description below. Don't forget to head on over to our YouTube page and hit that big red subscribe button as well so that you don't miss a moment of racing here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. The next event for the Bootleg Racing League will be their Season 3 opener at North Wilkesboro Speedway. That's next Saturday, June 20th at 8:50 Eastern. Also, for more great racing action, make sure to check out the Dutchies Esports Series, racing tomorrow morning at 8:45 a.m. at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Quebec. We also have upcoming races for our other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. And as always, until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.